Chinese punctuation uses a different set of punctuation marks from European languages, although the concept of modern standard punctuation was adapted in the written language during the 20th century from Western punctuation marks. Before that, the concept of punctuation in Chinese literature existed mainly in the form of Judou, a system of punctuation marks denoting stops and pauses, though many works of poetry and prose, as well as nearly all calligraphic works, omitted Judou marks, for in most occasions, it was not necessarily to understanding meaning. The first book to be printed with modern punctuation was Outline of the History of Chinese Philosophy by Hu Shi, published in 1919. Traditional poetry and calligraphy maintains the punctuation-free style. The usage of punctuation is regulated by the Chinese National Standard GBT 15834-2011. General Rules for Punctuation. Chinese Pinyin, Biodian Fu Hao Yongfa. Shape of punctuation marks. Many ancient Chinese books contain thousands of words with no spaces between them. However, when necessary to explicitly denote a pause or break, Judou marks such as and were used. Similar to the development of punctuation in Europe, there were varying types of Judou marks. For instance, a Song Dynasty print of Chronicles of Wang used full-width spaces to denote a stop, whereas a print of Jingdian Shuan from the same dynasty simply used and marks. Also, Qu Yuan's Li Sao used the character and grammatical particles to denote stops, similar to Judou marks. In Chinese writing, each character conforms to a roughly square frame so that the text as a whole can fit into a grid. Because of this, East Asian punctuation marks are larger than the European counterparts, as they should occupy a square area that is the same size as the characters around them. These punctuation marks are called full width to contrast them from half-width European punctuation marks. Chinese characters can be written horizontally or vertically. Some punctuation marks adapt to this change in direction. The parentheses, square brackets, square quotation marks, book title marks, ellipsis marks, and dashes all rotate 90 degrees clockwise when used in vertical text. The three underline-like punctuation marks in Chinese rotate and shift to the left side of the text in vertical script. Marks similar to European punctuation marks imported from Europe are full width instead of half width like their original European counterparts, thus incorporating more space, and no longer need to be followed by additional space in typesetting. And GT is the comma. It cannot be used for enumerating a list. See enumeration comma below. Is the exclamation mark, is the question mark, is the semicolon, is the colon, a parenthesis. There are two kinds of square brackets. Other punctuation symbols are more different in shape or usage. Punctuation marks full stop. The Chinese full stop is a full-width small circle. In horizontal writing, the full stop is placed in the middle. In vertical writing, it is placed below and to the right of the last character in mainland China, and in the middle in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. Quotation marks in traditional Chinese. The double and single quotation marks are full width, and the double quotation marks are used when embedded within single quotation marks. In vertical text, quotation marks are rotated 90 degrees clockwise. In simplified Chinese, the European-style quotation marks are always used in horizontal text. Here, single quotation marks are used when embedded within double quotation marks. Quote single quote single quote. These quotation marks are full width in printed matter but share the same code points as the European quotation marks in Unicode, so they require a Chinese language font to be displayed correctly. In vertical text, corner brackets rotated 90 degrees clockwise. The enumeration comma or done comma must be used instead of the regular comma when separating words constituting a list. Chinese language does not traditionally observe the English custom of a serial comma, although the issue is of little consequence in Chinese at any rate, as the English A, B, and C is more likely to be rendered in Chinese as A, B, C, or more often as A, B, C, without any word for, and see picture to the right. Middle dot. Chinese uses a middle dot to separate words in a foreign name. Since native surname and given names in Chinese are not separated using any punctuation or spaces. For example, Leonardo da Vinci is transliterated to Mandarin as traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese. In Chinese, the middle dot is also full width in printed matter, while the half-width middle dot is also used in computer input, which is then rendered as full width in Chinese language fonts. In Taiwan, the hyphenation point is used instead for the same purpose. Title marks. For titles of books, films, and so on, Chinese uses full-width double-angle brackets and full-width single-angle brackets. The latter is used when embedded within the former. In traditional Chinese, single title marks are also used for articles in sections of a book, whereas simplified Chinese use double title marks for all titles, is also used as a title mark. Ellipsis. In Chinese, the ellipsis is written with 6 dots occupying the same space as 2 characters in the center of the line. M-. Similarly, the M- is written so that it occupies the space of 2 characters in the center of the line. There should be no breaking in the line. Chinese dash is Chinese pinyin, Hao, and dash when connecting 2 words to signify a range. Chinese generally uses a full width and dash occupying the space of 1 character. A single M- character, or a tilde may also be used. Wavy dash. The wavy dash can also signify a range in Chinese. It is more commonly but not exclusively used when the numbers are estimates. For the most part, however, the N dash and wavy dash are interchangeable. Usage is largely a matter of personal taste or institutional style. In informal use, wavy dashes are also used to indicate a prolonged vowel, similar to informal English's repeated letters, or to indicate stress in places where English would employ an emphatic tone marked variously by italics or bolding. Spacing. Similar to the spacing between letters in European languages, Chinese writing uses a very narrow space between characters, though it does not observe the equivalent to the wider space between words except on rare occasions. Chinese, particularly Classical Chinese, is thus a form of scripture continua, and it is common for words to be split between lines with no marking in the text, similar to the English hyphen. When a space is used, it is also full width. One instance of its usage is as an honorific marker. A modern example in 20th century Taiwan is found in the reference to Chiang Kai-shek as, in which the preceding space serves as an honorific marker for. This use is also still current in very formal letters or other old-style documents. When Chinese is romanized, spaces are used to assist in reading. Rules vary between systems, but most commonly, as in Han Pinyin, the spaces properly occur between semantic divisions but in practice are often placed between phonetic divisions. In the Wade-Giles system, separate characters within a word were noted by hyphens, but this is increasingly uncommon. Typographic styles. The following are commonly suggested typographical styles. However, they are rarely carried out in practice, often only used when necessary. Proper name marks and title marks are used mainly in textbooks and official documents in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Proper name mark. A proper name mark is occasionally used, especially in teaching materials and some movie subtitles. When the text runs vertically, the proper name mark is written as a line to the left of the characters. Title mark. A title mark is a wavy underline which is used instead of the regular book title marks whenever the proper noun mark is used in the same text. Emphasis mark for emphasis. Chinese uses emphasis marks instead of italic type. Each emphasis mark is a single dot placed under each character to be emphasized. Although frequent in printed matter, emphasis marks are rare online, as they are not supported by most word processors, and support in HTML is in development. Other notes: there is no equivalent of the apostrophe in Chinese. It is omitted in translated foreign names such as O'Neill. The hyphen is only used when writing translated foreign names with hyphens. Otherwise, it is not used in Chinese and omitted when translating compound words. Use of punctuation marks. Several punctuation marks have ranges of use that differ from the way they are used in English, though some functions may overlap. The comma is used to join together clauses that deal with a certain topic or line of thinking. As such, what would appear to an English speaker to be a comma splice is very commonly seen in Chinese writing. Often, the entirety of a long paragraph can consist of clauses joined by commas, with the sole period coming only at the end. Unlike in English, a comma is allowed between a subject and its predicate. The question mark is used as in English with the additional function of being used with indirect questions. Examples: whether he was of legal age was the key question. Quote, I was wondering where you went. Quote dot. The semicolon is frequently used to demarcate parallel structures in a paragraph. Quotation marks, in addition to being used around quotations, are also commonly used for emphasis and to indicate proper nouns and titles. The use of a second em dash to close a parenthetical thought is rare. Instead, a comma is usually used, or sometimes no punctuation at all.